All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving headfirst into a book that claims it can change how we see the world.
And maybe even change the world we see, right?
Exactly. Reality Transurfing Steps, IV by Vadim Zeland. Have you heard of this one?
Whoa, yeah, it's been making the rounds. Definitely an interesting read.
Yeah. So it's all about this idea that you can achieve what you want without all the struggle and grind. Sounds too good to be true, right?
Well, it's not about changing who you are, but more like remembering who you truly are and then using that to kind of like align with how the universe actually works.
So aligning with the universe.
Uh,
I'm digging it already.
think of it as surfing, like riding the waves of possibility instead of getting pummeled by them.
Surfing the waves of possibility. I'm in. Okay, but let's break this down a little, chapter by chapter, make sure everyone's following along, right?
Right.
So the book opens with this idea that you don't have to fight for what you want. You can actually just get it.
Right off the bat, it challenges that whole no pain, no gain thing.
Yeah, the hustle culture, the grind, it's exhausting.
Totally. Reality transurfing says there's actually a more effortless way, a more, harmonious way to navigate life and reach your goals.
Almost like dancing with the universe instead of wrestling with it, right?
Exactly.
So the book talks about this feeling of being trapped, of, being stuck in these routines, just going through the motions, like serving a prison sentence, it calls it.
Oh, I know that feeling. Like just waiting for something to change, but not really knowing how to make it happen.
Yeah. So Reality Transurfing says, okay, enough of that. You have the power to choose a different path.
You don't have to stay stuck.
Okay, so then how do we escape this metaphorical prison? It introduces this wild concept of an alternative space. What's that all about?
It's kind of like a vast field of possibilities. Every single potential reality already exists there. Think of it as this cosmic menu, right?
A cosmic menu of options. I like that.
And your thought, they act like this tuning fork, and they sort of attract the reality that matches their frequency.
Okay, so our thoughts actually shape our reality. That sounds a bit like the law of attraction, right?
There are some similarities, yeah. But reality transurfing goes a bit deeper. It talks about the power of our, what it calls, slides.
The slides, yeah, those mental pictures we have of how things should be.
Exactly. We all have these slides, right? For different areas of our lives, our relationships, careers, health, the whole shebang.
So if I'm picturing myself like living in a beach house, that's a slide.
Exactly. But here's the thing. When we get too attached to those slides, when we give them too much importance, we actually create resistance.
Wait, so wanting it too much actually pushes it away.
It can. It's like trying to force a square peg into a round hole. You need to sort of loosen up and let the universe work its magic.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do
Yeah.
we avoid that trap of giving things too much importance? How do we let go and trust the flow?
Well, that's where inner versus outer intention comes in. Most of us, we're stuck in this inner intention. It's like this constant striving, wanting, needing.
Yeah, like I want, I need, I have to have it all the time.
Exactly. But reality transurfing says, no, shift to outer intention.
So it's less about forcing and more about going with the cosmic current.
Exactly. Instead of fixating on exactly what you want, focus on the actions you can take right now that feel good and let go of the outcome. The book has this great story about a guy on a tram who was dealing with one of those energy vampires, those people who just drain you.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he does this unexpected thing. He just starts singing opera at the top of his lungs.
Oh, I remember that story. Totally threw everyone off guard, and the energy vampire was speechless.
Exactly. It's a perfect example of choosing a different path, of going with the flow instead of resisting it.
It's like that saying, go with the flow, but like on a whole other level. And then this brings us to another key concept, coordination.
Coordination.
What does it actually mean to coordinate with reality?
It's about learning to dance with life's changes, right? We all have setbacks. We all have things that don't go according to plan.
Yeah, life throws some curveballs sometimes.
Totally. But what if, instead of getting discouraged, we saw those setbacks as opportunities, as the universe nudging us in a different direction?
So it's about changing our perspective on challenges, like
Yeah.
trusting that they're happening for us, not to us.
Exactly. The book uses the surfing analogy again. You can't control the waves,
Right.
but you can learn to ride them.
Okay, I'm starting to feel the vibe here. So we've got the alternative space, we've got the slides, and this whole idea of inner versus outer intention and coordination. But then the book introduces pendulums, and things get a little woo-woo.
Chapter 2, right into the pendulums.
Yeah, the pendulums. So what are these pendulums? Are we talking about like evil spirits or something?
Not quite evil spirits. Think of them more as these energy structures that feed off of our negative emotions, like fear, anxiety, resentment, all that fun stuff.
Okay, so what, like, are some examples of these pendulums? Is it like my annoying neighbor?
It could be, yeah, or it could be like a social movement or a political ideology or even, the media, anything that kind of hooks us with our fears and insecurities.
And we end up giving them our energy without even realizing it.
Exactly. And the more we react to their drama, the more we feed them. It's like this pendulum swinging back and forth.
Okay, so how do we break free from these pendulums? How do we stop feeding them with our energy?
Well, it all starts with awareness, right? Once you recognize the pendulums in your life, you can start to detach.
Okay, so awareness is key. But then what? What are some actual practical things we can do to, break free from these pendulums?
Well, one of the most powerful techniques, it goes back to what we talked about earlier, is reducing the importance you give to things. The book says importance is like rust.
Rust.
Yeah, like it corrodes our souls, it creates all this internal pressure and anxiety, and it actually makes us more susceptible to the influence of pendulums.
So it's like the more importance we give to something, the more power it has over us.
Exactly. And the book makes this interesting point about importance. It's not just internal, we project it outward too. Think about how much energy we waste trying to prove our importance to other people.
Oh, I know those types. It's exhausting. Like they have to be the loudest voice in the room.
Yeah.
Or like constantly name dropping and bragging.
Exactly. It's all coming from this need for validation, this fear of not being good enough.
Okay, so how do we like actually reduce this importance? How do we loosen that grip and just be?
It starts with recognizing the illusion of importance. It's just a game, really, a
Okay.
construct.
A game, but it feels so real.
It does, right. But once you see through the illusion, you can start to detach from it. And
Hmm.
the book suggests practicing self-acceptance, gratitude, and, focusing on the present moment.
Okay, those are great reminders. So we're learning to recognize those pendulums, reduce our importance. But what about those slides, those mental pictures? How do we work with them in a way that actually brings us closer to our goals?
That's exactly what Chapter 5 is all about, how we can consciously use those slides to shape our reality.
So just to recap, slides are those mental images of our ideal reality, right? Like if I picture myself in a loving relationship, that's a slide.
Precisely. And Reality Transurfing says we can use these slides intentionally to attract those realities.
Okay, but it's not about like forcing those slides onto reality, right?
Yeah.
It's more about gently guiding our energy toward the desired outcome.
Exactly. And there's a really powerful image in this chapter, the dual mirror. It describes how our inner intentions shape the reflection of reality that we see.
Wait, so like we're looking into a mirror and what we see is a reflection of our own thoughts and beliefs.
Exactly. It's a great way to visualize how our inner world creates our outer world. And if we don't like the reflection we see,
We got to change the image we're projecting, right?
exactly.
The book talks about how to transform those negative slides into positive ones. This seems like super important, to manifest the reality we actually want.
Absolutely. Let's say you have a negative slide about, oh, I don't know, money. Maybe you're always struggling financially, right?
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
So to transform that, you would start by identifying that negative slide, that picture of yourself always broke,
Okay, I see that.
and then consciously choose to replace it with a positive image. Instead of picturing yourself struggling, you'd imagine yourself thriving financially, having more than enough money to do the things you love.
So it's about creating a new mental picture, a new vision for yourself.
Exactly. And the more you focus on that positive image, the more energy you give it. And the more likely it is to manifest in your reality. Remember, energy flows where attention goes.
This is like making me feel so hopeful. But the book also emphasizes not getting attached to the outcome, right?
Absolutely. It's about trusting the process, letting go of the need to control every little thing, and allowing the universe to kind of like work its magic.
It's like planting a seed and trusting that it will grow without needing to constantly dig it up to check on its progress.
Exactly. Trust is key.
Okay, I can already see how powerful this approach can be. We're learning to recognize and neutralize those pendulums, reduce the importance we give to things, and work with those slides in a more conscious and empowering way. But what about actually manifesting the reality we want? Like, what's the secret sauce?
That brings us to the heart of reality transurfing, outer intention. And Chapter 6 dives deep into this game-changing concept.
Okay, let's dive in.
Chapter 6 is called Outer Intention, the Power of Letting Go. This is where things get really interesting. Outer intention is really the key to unlocking like the full potential of reality transurfing.
Okay, I'm ready for the deep dive on outer intention. I think we touched on it earlier, but
Yeah.
just to recap, what's the difference between inner and outer intention again?
Right. So inner intention, it's all about that wanting and striving. It's that, force of I want, I need, I have to have it. It's focused on us, on our desires, and it actually creates like this excess potential that pushes away what we want.
So it's like we're trying too hard. We're putting too much pressure on it.
Exactly. Outer intention, though, is about allowing and receiving. It's about aligning ourselves with like the universe's intentions and trusting that everything is unfolding, as it should.
Okay, so it's less striving and more surrendering.
You got it.
I think I can get behind that. But how do we actually cultivate outer intention in our lives? How do we shift from that, like, wanting and striving to allowing and receiving?
It starts with letting go. Letting go of the need to control everything.
That's easier said than done.
Oh, for sure. The book calls it releasing the deadly grip of inner intention. That white knuckling onto how things should be. It's about learning to like trust the universe and allowing things to unfold naturally.
So instead of desperately clinging to a specific outcome, we're trusting that there's a bigger plan.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm with you so far. But doesn't that kind of make us passive in our own lives? Like if we're just letting go and surrendering, are we just letting life happen to us?
Not at all. It's not about being passive. It's about being more conscious, more intentional in our choices. We're still choosing, but we're choosing to like align ourselves with the universe's intentions instead of fighting against them.
Okay, I'm seeing the difference now. Do you have any like tips or tricks for making that shift from inner to outer intention? It sounds kind of tricky.
Well, the book suggests this idea of renting yourself out to the world. It sounds a little strange.
Renting yourself out.
Yeah, but it's a metaphor. It's about detaching from your ego's desires and simply observing the world as it unfolds. Without, judgment or resistance, it's about becoming a witness to your life rather than like getting caught up in the drama.
That's a really cool image. So
Yeah.
we're stepping back and observing, but we're not getting swept up in the story.
Exactly. When we adopt this observer perspective, we create space for like outer intention to guide us. We become more receptive to the signs and opportunities that the universe is always presenting.
Right, those synchronicities we talked about before.
Exactly.
Okay, so the book also talks about this idea of going with the alternatives flow. What does that mean exactly?
So the universe, right, it's constantly presenting us with these potential alternatives, different paths we can take. Going with the alternatives flow means choosing the path of least resistance, the path that feels the most, effortless and enjoyable, the path that just seems to flow.
So it's about recognizing those signs and synchronicities and following the path that feels the most, like, aligned.
Precisely. It's like sailing with the wind instead of against it. When we align ourselves with the alternatives flow, life just feels easier, more fulfilling.
Okay, so we're letting go of control. We're renting ourselves out to the world. We're going with the alternatives flow. What's next?
Chapter 7 is all about visualization. It's called Slides and Visualization, and it's where the rubber meets the road,
I love visualization. I'm ready to make those slides a reality.
But visualization in reality transurfing, it's a bit different from like traditional visualization.
So.
Well, in traditional visualization, you often focus on visualizing the end result, right? Like, imagining yourself having already achieved your goal.
Yeah, like picturing yourself holding that trophy or whatever.
Exactly. But reality transurfing suggests that this can actually create resistance because it emphasizes what you lack. It's like you're constantly reminding yourself that you haven't reached your goal yet.
Okay, so what should we be visualizing instead?
The book says visualize the process of achieving your goal. Focus on the steps you need to take, the actions you can take right now that feel aligned with your goal, without getting too attached to a specific outcome.
So, like, instead of visualizing myself crossing the finish line, I should visualize myself training for the race.
Exactly. It's like creating a mental movie of yourself taking those steps, feeling the joy and excitement of moving toward your goals.
That's such a cool way to approach visualization. I never thought of it like that. The book also talks about, like, feeling the emotions associated with achieving your goal, right?
Yes. This is super important. It's key to activating the energy of intention. It's not enough to just visualize the process. You also need to feel it. Like, the joy, the gratitude, the sense of accomplishment you would experience if you were already living that reality.
So it's about embodying the energy of our desired reality, like right now.
Exactly. It's about aligning our energy with the frequency of our goals, which makes them more likely to manifest.
Okay, I love this. So we're visualizing the process, we're feeling the emotions, we're trusting in the power of outer intention. I'm starting to see how all of these pieces fit together.
You're getting it. And as we continue through the book, we'll explore even more techniques and strategies for mastering reality transurfing.
Okay, bring it on. Chapter 8 is the wave of fortune. I love the sound of that already. Tell me more about riding that wave.
This chapter is all about attracting good luck and abundance into our lives.
Sign me up.
It challenges that idea that luck is just, random. Reality transurfing says we can actually create our own luck.
Wait, so you're saying it's not about winning the lottery or finding a four-leaf clover?
Well, it's more about being in the right place at the right time, about, recognizing and seizing opportunities as they arise, and just having this effortless flow of good things coming your way.
Okay, so it's about creating this wave of fortune in our lives.
Right. The book emphasizes reducing importance. We talked about that before.
Right, that rust that corrodes our soul.
Exactly. But it also talks about cultivating a positive mindset
Yeah.
and taking what it calls inspired action.
Okay, so it's about creating a fertile ground for good luck to, like, flourish.
Exactly. It's like preparing the soil and planting the seeds and then trusting that, the universe will provide the sunshine and rain to help them grow.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about this inspired action? What does that actually look like in real life?
Inspired action is action that is aligned with your soul's purpose, with your heart's desires. It's action that feels effortless and joyful. You're not forcing it. It's almost like you're being guided by an invisible hand.
So it's like we're in the flow, we're following our intuition and doing what feels right in each moment.
Exactly. And when we take inspired action, we align ourselves with the energy of the universe, which naturally attracts good luck and fortunate circumstances.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all this comes together. So we're letting go of the need to control, we're trusting the flow, we're visualizing our desired reality, and we're taking inspired action.
Yeah.
It's like we're creating this powerful vortex of energy that's pulling good things into our lives.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. And it all starts with shifting our perspective and understanding that we have the power to create the reality we want.
Okay, I'm feeling empowered. Chapter 9 is called The Aim Sailing Through Life with Your Eyes Closed. That sounds a little scary, but also kind of exciting.
This chapter challenges that conventional idea that we need, like a crystal clear, detailed plan to achieve success.
So we're not setting smart goals and like meticulously planning every step of the way.
Not necessarily. Reality transurfing says that sometimes the most fulfilling path unfolds when we let go of the need to control everything. And we trust in the guidance of, the universe.
So we're sailing toward a destination, but we're open to the possibility that the route might change along the way.
Exactly. The book uses this great analogy of a sailboat navigating a vast ocean. You don't need to know every current and wind pattern to reach your destination. You just trust your intuition, you adjust your sails as needed, and you enjoy the journey.
Oh, I love that. So how do we actually sail through life with our eyes closed? That sounds like, honestly, a little intimidating.
It starts with cultivating a deep sense of trust in the universe, in your intuition, and in your own ability to navigate whatever comes your way. It also requires being open to the unknown, being willing to embrace uncertainty and see it as an adventure rather than a threat.
So it's like we're surrendering to the flow of life, knowing that we're being guided, even if we can't see the entire path laid out in front of us.
Exactly. And as we relax our grip on control and, open ourselves up to the mystery of life, we often find that the path unfolds in these really magical and unexpected ways.
Okay, I'm feeling a little more adventurous now. I can see how that surrender can lead to, like, so much more freedom and possibility.
Absolutely. And the book reminds us that sometimes the most direct path isn't a straight line. There might be, twists and turns, detours, delays, but ultimately we always end up where we're meant to be.
I'm really enjoying this exploration of reality transurfing. It's like we're peeling back the layers of reality and discovering this, whole new way of being in the world.
It's a really powerful shift in perspective. And Chapter 10, Unity, the Heart, the Mind, and the Soul, dives even deeper into that.
Ooh, that sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
What does it mean to, achieve unity of heart, mind, and soul?
Well, most of us, we live in this state of inner fragmentation. Our hearts want one thing, our minds tell us something else, and our souls are kind of whispering in the background.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well. It's like we're constantly battling with ourselves, like pulled in all these different directions.
Exactly. And all that inner conflict, it creates a lot of suffering. It prevents us from experiencing true peace and happiness.
So how do we achieve unity? How do we bring all those different parts of ourselves into alignment?
It starts with listening to our hearts, listening to that deep inner knowing that tells us what truly matters. Like, what are our passions? What brings us joy? What feels aligned with, like, our purpose?
So we're connecting with our core values, with the things that light us up and make us feel like truly alive.
Exactly. But it's not just about blindly following our hearts. It's about using our minds to support those passions, to create a plan, a strategy to help us bring those desires into reality.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where our heart and mind are like working together in harmony.
Yes, our hearts provide the direction, the passion, the fuel, and our minds provide the structure, the strategy, the roadmap.
Oh, I love that. So we're not letting either our heart or our mind dominate. It's about like finding a way for them to collaborate.
Exactly. And when our heart and mind are aligned, our souls naturally flourish. We experience a sense of wholeness, of purpose, of like deep inner peace.
I can just feel that imagining it. It's like this sense of inner harmony, like a feeling of being fully integrated and aligned with our true selves.
Exactly. And the book emphasizes that this unity is essential for like successfully navigating the alternative space and manifesting our desired reality.
So it's not just about like achieving our goals. It's about living a life that feels like authentic and aligned with our deepest values and our purpose.
Yes. And when we do that, we experience this profound sense of fulfillment and joy. It's like everything clicks into place. You're in the flow, you're connected to your purpose, and you're creating a life that truly reflects who you are.
Okay, we're getting into some pretty profound territory here.
Yeah.
I'm starting to understand how reality transurfing is so much more than just like a set of techniques for getting what we want. It's really like a philosophy of life, a way of being in the world that can lead to a much more joyful and fulfilling experience.
It's about recognizing that we have far more power than we realize. We're not victims of circumstance, but rather conscious creators with the ability to shape our own reality. And it all starts with making a choice, a conscious decision to step into our power and create the life we desire.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered the first 10 chapters of Reality Transurfing Steps. We've explored all these cool concepts like the alternative space, slides, pendulums, importance, inner versus outer intention, coordination, visualization, the wave of fortune, sailing through life with our eyes closed, and the unity of heart, mind, and soul. Phew, that's a lot. What's next?
Well, the next section of the book, chapters 11 through 15, focuses on relationships. It's like the book is recognizing that relationships are a fundamental part of the human experience, and they play a huge role in our overall happiness and well-being.
Relationships. Well, I could talk about relationships all day. They can be so challenging, but also incredibly rewarding. I'm curious to see how reality transurfing approaches this part of life.
What's so fascinating about this section is that it takes those principles of reality transurfing that we've been talking about and applies them to, like, the realm of relationships.
Okay, I'm ready to dive into that. Chapter 11 is titled Energy, the Fuel of Intention. So we're talking about energy in the context of relationships.
Exactly. This chapter emphasizes that our energy levels, they play a big role in our ability to attract and maintain, like, healthy relationships.
So it's not just about having like good communication skills or being emotionally available.
Those are important, of course, but the book argues that, like, our energy is the foundation. It's like the soil that the relationship grows in. If our energy is depleted, we're just not going to attract or sustain healthy relationships. It's like trying to run a car on an empty tank. It's just not going to work.
Okay, I can see the connection.
Mhm.
So how do we cultivate strong and vibrant energy in our lives? So we can attract those healthy relationships.
The book suggests like several practices: reducing stress, engaging in activities that nourish our souls,
Mhm.
practicing energy management techniques. It's about like taking care of ourselves on all levels, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, so that we have the energy to give to others.
Right, we have to fill up our own cup first before we can pour into someone else's. Right.
Exactly. And when our energy is flowing freely, we naturally attract people who are also vibrating at a high frequency. It's like we become magnets for like healthy, positive, supportive relationships.
I love that. It's like the universe is like conspiring to bring us together with the people who are meant to be in our lives.
Exactly. And chapter 12 dives even deeper into this idea of energetic alignment. It's called Frail, the Art of Communicating with Your Soul.
Okay, I have to admit, I'm not familiar with this term frail.
Yeah, it's a term coined by Vadim Zeland, the author of Reality Transurfing, and it refers to that like unique set of qualities and characteristics that make up our individual essence. It's like our soul's fingerprint, our unique energetic signature.
Our soul's signature, that's beautiful.
And this chapter explores how we can actually use Frail to communicate with others on a deeper level and create, more fulfilling relationships. It's about recognizing and honoring the like unique essence of each individual, both in ourselves and in the people around us.
Okay, I'm really intrigued by this idea. So
Yeah.
how do we communicate with our frail? And how does that actually help us in our relationships?
The book suggests that we can access our Frail through intuition, through those, gut feelings, those inner knowings that kind of guide us. And when we're in touch with our own Frail, we're more attuned to the Frail of others.
So it's like we're speaking the same language, even if we're not, like, literally speaking.
Exactly. And this creates a deeper level of understanding and connection. It's like you can sense each other's energy, each other's, essence, and communicate on like a soul level.
That's so powerful. I'm really starting to see how this frail concept can enhance our relationships, like create a sense of deep connection and resonance with the people around us.
It's like this hidden language that speaks to our hearts.
Mhm.
And the book also talks about, the importance of respecting the frail of others.
Right, because everyone's frail is unique and special. It's about honoring that individuality.
Exactly. Just as we want our own frail to be respected and honored, we need to extend that same respect to those around us.
So it's about recognizing and appreciating the unique essence of each individual.
Exactly. And when we do that, we create a space for like genuine connection and authentic relationships.
This is giving me so much to think about. Okay, moving right along. Chapter 13 has a slightly ominous title, The Strings, the hidden forces that control our relationships. That sounds a little scary.
It does, right. But it's not about fear-mongering or anything like that. It's about bringing awareness to those subtle but really powerful forces that can influence our relationships, often without us even realizing it.
So we're talking about things like power dynamics, social conditioning, past traumas, those unconscious patterns that we all carry.
Exactly. And the book says that these strings can either support or sabotage our relationships, depending on how we choose to engage with them.
Okay, so how do we identify those strings in our own lives?
Yeah.
And then, like, how do we work with them in a way that creates, healthy, fulfilling relationships?
It starts with, as always, awareness. Pay attention to the dynamics that are playing out in your relationships. Notice the patterns that repeat themselves. Identify the beliefs and expectations that may be influencing your behavior.
So it's like becoming a relationship detective,
Yeah.
looking for clues to, like, understand those hidden forces that are at play.
Exactly. And once you've identified those strings, you can start to consciously choose how you want to engage with them.
So we're not necessarily trying to eliminate those strings altogether. Some of them might actually be, like, helpful.
Right. Some strings can provide, like, structure and support in a relationship. It's like the framework of a house. It provides stability, boundaries. But if the framework is too rigid, it can feel suffocating. So it's about finding that balance, that sweet spot where the strings are supporting growth and connection, but without, like, limiting us.
Okay, I like that analogy. So it's about becoming aware of the strings, understanding their influence, and choosing to engage with them in a way that feels conscious and intentional.
Exactly. And when we do that, we empower ourselves to create relationships that are truly aligned with our, values and desires.
This is giving me so much to think about. I'm already, like, starting to notice some of those strings in my own relationships.
That's a first step. Awareness, and then you can choose how you want to respond, how you want to shape those dynamics.
Okay, I'm ready to pull on some strings. Chapter 14 is the heart, the key to unconditional love. Now, that sounds like a pretty tall order. Unconditional love feels like one of those lofty ideals that's hard to, like, actually achieve in reality.
It can feel that way, right? But this chapter offers a refreshingly, like, realistic and down-to-earth perspective on unconditional love.
Okay, so what is unconditional love, according to Reality Transurfing?
It's not about, becoming a doormat or tolerating bad behavior. It's about choosing to love someone freely, without conditions or expectations.
So it's about accepting them for who they are, flaws and all.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that our love for someone, it doesn't depend on them meeting our needs or fulfilling our expectations.
It's like we're choosing to love them just because they exist,
Yeah,
because they're
fine.
part of our lives.
Yes. And the book argues that this kind of unconditional love, it's a really powerful force for healing and transformation, both for ourselves and for those we love. It's about choosing love over fear, acceptance over judgment, connection over separation.
Wow, that's beautiful. It sounds like a really powerful practice.
It is, and it's something we can all cultivate, starting with ourselves. The more we practice self-love and acceptance, the more easily we can extend that love to others.
Right, that makes sense. We can't pour from an empty cup.
Mm.
Okay, chapter 15 is the last one in this section on relationships, and it's titled The Mirror Reflecting Our True Selves.
This chapter emphasizes that, our relationships are this powerful mirror. They reflect back to us our own beliefs, our patterns, our behaviors. They can show us, what we need to heal, where we need to grow, what we need to change.
So it's like we're constantly receiving feedback from those around us, whether we're like aware of it or not.
Exactly. And the book suggests that if we're willing to actually pay attention to this feedback, we can learn a lot about ourselves and use those insights to create, more fulfilling relationships.
Okay, so how do we actually use our relationships as a mirror?
Mm.
Like, how do we use that feedback to improve ourselves?
The book says, pay attention to those patterns that keep repeating themselves in your relationships. Notice the qualities that you admire or dislike in other people. Often those qualities are reflecting aspects of ourselves, aspects that we either love or that, maybe need a little healing. And be honest with yourself about the role that you play in creating the dynamics that unfold in your relationships.
So it's about taking responsibility for our own stuff
Yeah.
instead of like blaming other people.
Exactly. And it's about using those insights to, grow and evolve as individuals, which ultimately leads to healthier and more fulfilling relationships.
Okay, this is powerful stuff. Relationships can be really challenging, but this chapter reminds us that they can also be these incredible opportunities for growth and, self-discovery.
Absolutely. Our relationships can help us see ourselves more clearly, understand our patterns, and ultimately become the best versions of ourselves.
Okay, we've explored the 5 chapters on relationships. We've talked about energy, frail, strings, the heart, and the mirror. It's been a fascinating journey. What's next?
The next section of the book dives into money and success, another area of life where, a lot of us struggle.
Money and success. Definitely hot topics. I'm ready to hear what Reality Transurfing has to say about those. Okay, so we're on to the final stretch of our Reality Transurfing journey. Chapters 16 through 20. They tackle money and success, those biggies.
Yeah, this section is pretty refreshing.
Oh, yeah. How so?
It's different from all those get-rich-quick schemes or those, hustle culture mantras. It's not about forcing or striving. It's about aligning with the natural principles of abundance.
Okay, I am intrigued. Let's start with chapter 16. Money, a reflection of our inner worth.
That title alone, right? It's like, whoa.
Yeah, makes you think.
This chapter, it goes deep into our beliefs about money, how they actually influence our financial reality.
Okay, so it's not just about budgeting or investing wisely.
Those are important, of course, but the book is saying it's more about recognizing that our relationship with money, it often mirrors our deeper beliefs about ourselves.
So you're saying that what we believe about money, it actually shapes our financial reality.
Exactly. If we believe we're not worthy of wealth, or that money is evil, or that we'll never have enough, guess what? We're probably going to create a reality that reflects that.
It's like we're subconsciously sabotaging ourselves.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so how do we shift those beliefs? How do we create a healthier relationship with money? Attract that abundance.
Well, the book offers some really powerful practices. It starts with, becoming aware of those limiting beliefs and then consciously choosing to, release them.
Okay, so we're doing some mental decluttering.
Right. Getting rid of those old limiting beliefs and, replacing them with thoughts that support abundance.
What else can we do?
Cultivating a sense of gratitude for what we already have. That's huge.
Gratitude, yeah. That's like that saying, what you appreciate appreciates.
Exactly. The more grateful we are for what we have, the more we open ourselves up to receiving more.
And it's also important to align our actions with our values, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we want to create financial abundance, we need to make choices that actually support that goal.
Exactly. It's about being intentional with our spending, investing wisely, and pursuing opportunities that, feel good and aligned.
Okay, I'm ready to step up my money game. Let's move on to chapter 17. Success, a journey, not a destination.
I love this chapter.
Me too. It's speaking my language already.
It challenges that traditional idea of success, like it's this fixed point we reach.
Yeah, like climbing a ladder and finally reaching the top rung. But then what?
Right. Reality Transurfing says, no, true success. It's an ongoing journey. It's about growth, evolution, self-discovery.
So it's not about chasing those external markers of success, like, the fancy title, the big house,
Yeah.
the millions in the bank.
Those things can be nice, sure, but they're not the essence of true success. It's more about living a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling.
So it's about feeling successful on the inside, regardless of, like, what's happening in our external world.
Exactly. It's about feeling good about yourself, about the choices you make, about the impact you're making. And it's about, enjoying the journey.
It's like we're redefining success on our own terms, based on what truly matters to us.
Right. It's about creating a life that feels good on a soul level, not just a material level. And the book suggests that when we focus on that inner fulfillment, outer success naturally follows.
I've definitely experienced that in my own life. Like, when I'm feeling good and aligned on the inside, things just seem to, like, flow more easily on the outside.
Exactly. It's like we become magnets for the opportunities and resources we need. And chapter 18, Goals, the Art of Letting Go and Allowing, goes deeper into this.
Wait, letting go of goals? How are we supposed to achieve our goals if we're letting go of them? That seems counterintuitive.
It's about finding that sweet spot between setting intentions and surrendering to the flow. We set the intention, we visualize the outcome we desire, but then we kind of release our attachment to how it manifests. We trust that the universe will orchestrate the details.
Okay, so it's not about, like, micromanaging every step of the process or forcing things to happen.
Right. It's about setting the intention, taking aligned action, and then letting go, trusting that the universe has our back, even if things don't go, exactly according to plan.
I'm starting to see the wisdom in that. Sometimes, when I, like, loosen my grip and just surrender to the flow, things actually work out better than I could have imagined.
Exactly. It's like we're opening ourselves up to infinite possibilities, to the magic of the universe.
I'm feeling more relaxed already.
Chapter 19 is Action, the Power of Inspired Movement. And it reminds us that, action is still important.
Right, we can't just sit back and wait for the universe to deliver everything on a silver platter. We have to meet it halfway.
Exactly. But the action we take, it should be inspired action, not forced. It should feel aligned with our purpose and, flow effortlessly.
So it's not about blindly following, like, a to-do list or hustling ourselves into burnout.
No, not at all. It's about tuning into our intuition, listening to our hearts, and taking action that feels joyful and aligned.
It's like we're dancing with the universe. We're following the music of our intuition.
I love that. And when we take inspired action, we tap into a powerful force that can, propel us toward our goals and dreams.
Okay, let's move on to the final chapter in this section on money and success. Chapter 20, Abundance, a State of Mind, Not a Bank Account.
I love that. Me too.
Okay.
This chapter, it emphasizes that abundance is not just about, material wealth.
It's about feeling rich in all areas of our lives, right?
Mhm.
Our relationships, our health, our creativity.
Exactly. It's about having loving relationships, good health, creative fulfillment, a sense of purpose, and a deep connection to ourselves and the world.
It's about recognizing and appreciating the abundance that already exists instead of, like, focusing on what we lack.
Yes. And when we cultivate a mindset of abundance, we attract more of it.
It's like we become magnets for abundance.
Yeah.
I love that. So how do we cultivate this abundance mindset?
Well, gratitude is key. Focusing on all the good things we already have. Affirmations are also really helpful. Repeating positive statements about abundance and visualization can be really powerful. Imagining ourselves living in that state of abundance.
So we're training our minds to focus on abundance. Okay, I'm definitely going to try those. I'm ready to shift my mindset and create more abundance. All right, so we've explored those 5 chapters on money and success, our beliefs about money, redefining success, letting go of our goals, taking inspired action, and cultivating that abundance mindset. And now for the final section of the book, chapters 21 through 25. These explore, like, the deeper, more philosophical aspects of reality transurfing.
This is where it all comes together. We start to see the bigger picture.
Okay, I'm ready for the grand finale, chapter 21. The World, a Waking Lucid Dream. That title alone is blowing my mind.
Right. This chapter really challenges our conventional understanding of reality. It suggests that the world we experience, it's more fluid and malleable than we think.
Hold on, are you saying I can, like, bend spoons with my mind now?
Maybe not spoons, but the idea is By becoming more conscious and aware, we gain more creative control over our reality. It's like becoming lucid in a dream. Suddenly you realize you're dreaming, and you have all these choices and possibilities that you didn't have before.
Okay, I'm kind of getting it. So how do we wake up from this, like, collective dream? How do we become more conscious creators of our reality?
It starts with paying attention to those signs and synchronicities, to the patterns that repeat. Start tuning into your intuition.
So it's about becoming more mindful, more present, more aware of those subtle energies.
Exactly. And the more aware we become, the more we see the world with new eyes. We start to see the potential for transformation.
Okay, this is exciting. It's like we're stepping out of the matrix into a world of infinite possibilities. Chapter 22, the choice, the right to choose our destiny.
This chapter is all about reclaiming our power, throwing out that victim mentality.
I love that. But how do we actually do that? How do we create a destiny that feels aligned?
It starts with recognizing and releasing those limiting beliefs, those stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what's possible.
So it's about, like, consciously choosing the thoughts we think and the beliefs we hold.
Exactly. Our thoughts and beliefs, they literally create our reality.
Right. It's like upgrading our mental software. And then aligning our actions with our intentions, right?
Absolutely. Our choices, they have consequences. We create our destiny through the choices we make every day.
Okay, chapter 23 is the game playing with reality. I'm getting a playful vibe from this one.
Me too. This chapter encourages us to approach life with a sense of, like, lightness, experimentation, loosen our grip on those rigid expectations.
So it's not about taking everything so seriously.
Not at all. The book says that when we let go of the need to control, when we just relax and enjoy the ride, we actually open ourselves up to all sorts of new possibilities and experiences.
Okay, so how do we play this game? How do we approach life with a more, like, playful, experimental attitude?
Try new things. Step outside of your comfort zone. Embrace those unexpected twists and turns. It's about saying yes to adventures, even if you don't know where they'll lead.
I love that. It's about being more spontaneous, more curious, more open to the magic of life.
Exactly. And when we adopt that playful mindset, life becomes more joyful, more fulfilling, more magical.
Okay, chapter 24, the script, writing our own story.
Ooh, this is a good one. It's about becoming the conscious authors of our lives. We're not just, characters passively reacting to the plot. We have the power to actually shape the narrative.
So it's not about letting life happen to us. It's about consciously creating the life we want.
Exactly. We can literally rewrite the script of our lives by identifying those limiting beliefs, those patterns that are holding us back, and choosing to replace them with more empowering ones.
We're taking back our power.
Yes. And chapter 25, the verdict, you have the right to choose.
The grand finale. What's the verdict?
This chapter really just brings it all home. It reiterates that core message of reality transurfing. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a powerful creator, and you have the inherent right to choose the reality you experience.
And the book says that the verdict, it already exists in the alternative space,
Mm,
just waiting for us to choose it.
it's so powerful.
What are your thoughts on that?
It makes me realize that we are far more powerful than we realize. If that verdict already exists out there in that field of infinite possibilities, it means we have the potential for, like, a life that's truly amazing, a life filled with joy, abundance, love, success. It's just a matter of choosing it.
Well, this deep dive into reality transurfing has been, well, it's been incredible. It's given me a whole new perspective on things, my goals, my relationships, like even how I see reality itself.
It's not about changing who you are, but about remembering who you truly are.
Exactly. This was just a taste of what reality transurfing has to offer. If you're feeling inspired, pick up the book. Until next time.